Link TV, connecting you to the world. Link TV is viewer supported. Watch more at linktv.org.
Link TV presents Mosaic World News from the Middle East. Here are today's top stories.
Iraq bombings raise fears of resurgent violence. Video shows Iraqi journalists killed by U.S. gunships. And Obama wants to lessen the threat of nuclear weapons. Mosaic World News from the Middle East begins now.
"34 people were killed and 100 others were injured in 6 explosions that shook Baghdad. Some of the explosions were caused by bombs planted in residential buildings.
These explosions come amidst tight security measures that were put in place following the explosions that targeted Arab and Western embassies 2 days ago, killing and injuring 250 people.
لم تحل الإجراءات الأمنية المشددة التي فرضت في بغداد بعد تفجيرات الأحد الماضي دون.
The tight security measures, which were imposed on Baghdad following last Sunday's explosions, could not prevent further attacks. Today's attacks took place in several areas around Baghdad and appear to be in defiance of the security agencies.
عند طرفها الغربي وفي حي العامل والشرطة الرابعة عند طرفها الجنوبي.
Attacks took place in Al-Sahula and Al-Shakuk in northwest Baghdad. Another attack took place in Al-Amal neighborhood in the southern part of the city, while another hit the heart of the city, on Haifa Street in Al-Salahiyah area, hundreds of meters away from the Iranian embassy, which was also attacked in what is now known as the Bloody Embassies Day. The question is, how did the perpetrators manage to reach their targets amidst unprecedented security measures that were implemented by security agencies, after being accused of not doing enough following the attack on Arab and foreign embassies? The leader of the State of Law slate, Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki, who is also the commander-in-chief, warned that violence may return if the Electoral Commission does not fulfill his demand to manually recount the election ballots.
Political
observers say that no group, regardless of how powerful or how good it is in taking advantage of security gaps, can carry out such operations without logistical support from Iraqi institutions. They also raised many questions about the security checkpoints spread throughout the city, as well as the bomb detection equipment that can be found at every checkpoint.
ومعنا من بغداد الصحفي محمد قاسم.
Joining us from Baghdad is journalist Mohammed Qasim. Mohammed, the question that comes up in the report is, how did the perpetrators manage to reach their targets despite the high state of alert in many Iraqi cities?
في بغداد وفي كثير من المناطق العراقية.
نعم تفجيرات اليوم أو هي الخروقات الجديدة التي حدثت والتي شهدتها العاصمة العراقية.
Today's explosions, which took place in the Iraqi capital Baghdad, started in the morning and lasted up until 1 hour ago. Just 1 hour ago, a booby-trapped vehicle attacked Al-Sahula area.
صباح اليوم مستهدفة منطقة الكاظمية ومنطقة شكوك تمت.
The explosions that took place this morning in northwest Baghdad and Al-Kadhimiyya were carried out by bombs planted in houses. They were designed to kill the largest number of people.
عمليات التفجير إلى وسط العاصمة بغداد وإلى منطقة شارع حيفا وإلى منطقة الصالحية التي تقع.
Other explosions took place in Baghdad, in Haifa Street, in Al-Salahiyah area, near the Iranian embassy, which was attacked 2 days ago by a large suicide attack that killed and injured many people.
وجريح ثم بعد ذلك انتقلت العمليات التفجيرية إلى الطرف الجنوبي من العاصمة.
Other explosions took place in the southern part of Baghdad, in Al-Dura and Al-Amal neighborhoods. I would like to point out that most of today's explosions were caused by bombs that were planted in houses. Today's explosions were also carried out in several areas around Baghdad, and they were only separated from each other by short intervals.
U.S. military sources confirmed the authenticity of a videotape released on the website WikiLeaks, which shows scenes in Iraq of a U.S. helicopter firing on a number of Iraqi civilians, killing 12 people, including 2 employees of the Reuters news agency. The video dates back to 2007.
هذا هو سعيد شماغ ونمير نور الدين.
This is Saeed Chamaag, and that's Namir Noordin, photographers for the Reuters news agency. In 2007, they appeared on the surveillance screen of a U.S. Apache helicopter that was providing air protection to soldiers carrying out a military operation in the New Baghdad neighborhood. Neither Saeed nor his colleague Namir carried any weapons. They only had their camera equipment, but the orders were given to fire on them and anyone around them.
Come
on, fire!
لم يتوقف الأمر عند هذا الحد.
They did not stop here. The helicopter continued firing to kill Saeed and Namir, as well as a number of other civilians while they were trying to take the injured to the hospital.
الشريط سرب من قبل بعض الجنود الأمريكيين.
According to WikiLeaks, the tape was leaked by some American soldiers.
الموقع أمضى بدوره عدة أشهر للتحقق من
The website spent several months verifying the authenticity of the tape and making out the conversations between the soldiers and the U.S. Command Center.
I believe that if those killings were lawful under the rules of engagement, then the rules of engagement are wrong, deeply wrong.
The WikiLeaks website refused to reveal how it obtained the tape or release the names of the soldiers who gave it to them. But it confirmed that the tape is genuine and that it reveals horrifying facts.
This Apache helicopter was firing.
This Apache helicopter was firing 30mm cannon shells, normally used for armored PC operations, and you can see these zoom lenses are quite extraordinary, and the behavior of the pilots, it's like they're playing a computer game, and their desire appears to be that they want to get high scores on that computer game.
وكالة رويترز كانت طلبت الجيش الأمريكي
The Reuters news agency requested the U.S. Army investigate the death of its 2 photographers 3 years ago, when they were killed on their way to cover the U.S. forces' attack on one of these buildings. Eyewitnesses confirmed that there were no armed persons accompanying the 2 photographers, denying that there was any clash in the area at that time. Anwar Al-Ansi, BBC. Amar al-Hakim, the leader of the Islamic Supreme Council of Iraq, held a discussion with a delegation from Al-Araqiya list headed by Salam al-Zubayy. They talked about the political developments and the ongoing talks between the different political parties in order to form a new national unity government. Al-Zubayy said that the meeting was also intended to thank Al-Araqiya list, stating that whoever describes the Al-Araqiya list as Ba'athist is making a big mistake.
بناء المشروع السياسي والتأكيد على ثوابت المشروع السياسي أهم من بناء الحكومة.
Establishing the political foundation is more important than forming the next government. Therefore, we did not discuss the formation of the new government. Rather, we talked about the political program that officials must take into account. We were very pleased with Mr. Amar's thoughtful ideas and his high level of awareness and sense of responsibility. We also thanked him for the position he shared with the media. He said that anyone who tries to attack the Araqiya list by describing it in a manner that is inadequate for its sacrifices and those of its constituency is making a mistake.
أجرى رئيس الوزراء العراقي نور المالكي مباحثات مع قيادات في الهيئة السياسية.
Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki held talks with a delegation from the Sadr movement. They discussed the issue of integrating the national coalition into the state of law slate, following tense relations between the two sides. This is al-Maliki's first meeting with al-Sadr movement.
الآن في هذه المرحلة هي تفاهمات متبادلة ولكن لا ترتقي إلى مستوى الاتفاق.
At this stage, we reached a mutual understanding, but we did not reach a final agreement because the final results of the elections have not yet been announced. God willing, we will establish a national unity government. We hope that we can establish a strong government and parliament so that we can serve the Iraqi people. We reached a very good understanding with everyone, in that we should act responsibly and establish the government more effectively than we did in the past. As soon as the final results are announced, these kinds of understandings will make the formation of the new government a much easier process.
After U.S. President Barack Obama's administration reviewed its position on nuclear weapons, the president announced a new U.S. nuclear policy. The review ended with the decision to limit U.S. use of nuclear weapons. In addition, Washington renounced the development of new atomic weapons. The strategy review comes before the U.S. is to sign the new START treaty with Russia and before Washington is to host the summit on nuclear security next week. Fatima Tawil reports.
In a world competing to own nuclear capabilities, this marks the beginning of the end. U.S. President Barack Obama, who abandoned the Cold War mentality, seemed eager to prove to the world that the era of George Bush, who endorsed using nuclear weapons in defensive attacks, has truly ended, and that the U.S. now promotes a world without nuclear ambitions.
A world without nuclear weapons.
After reviewing and modifying U.S. nuclear policy, the U.S. is committed for the first time to not using nuclear weapons against non-nuclear countries. And it will respond to any biological or chemical weapons that it may be subjected to with traditional weapons. According to Washington, Iran and North Korea remain excluded from the amendment for their violation of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. This is a calculated maneuver by Obama, who is promoting his new strategy without irritating Washington's allies or reducing the superpower's ability to deal with future nuclear risks. If Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize for his vision of a nuclear-free world, then today he is under attack from conservatives who consider his act to be endangering U.S. national security.
Hours before Obama's new strategy was announced, Russia took a proactive position. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that proceeding toward a nuclear-free world also requires limiting strategic weapons, including traditional weapons that Washington is developing. Lavrov went even further and announced that his country reserves the right to withdraw from the Strategic Disarmament Treaty that it will sign with Washington in the event that the U.S. missile defense shield becomes a threat to its security. Lavrov's announcement is considered a reversal of Russia's former position. Previously, Russia had confirmed its agreement to the terms of the treaty between the Kremlin and the White House and its intention to attend the official signing in the Czech capital at the beginning of next month.
Russia will have the right to abandon the START treaty if a quantitative and qualitative buildup of the U.S. strategic anti-missile potential begins to significantly affect the efficiency of Russia's strategic forces. We also reiterate that we will be the only one to determine the scale of such an influence.
Amidst all these talks about strategic and nuclear weapons, Iran announced through its foreign minister that sanction pressures will not prevent it from continuing its nuclear program. He also said that any measure taken outside the framework of the International Atomic Energy Agency is politicized and unlawful. The Iranian spokesman also called for Russia to proceed with the delivery of the S-300 anti-aircraft missiles.
ونبقى في الشأن الانتخابي حيث شرع المركز الصحفي للمفوضية القومية للانتخابات.
The National Election Commission's Media Committee issued press passes to local and foreign media in order to cover and monitor the election process, which will begin in all of the country's provinces on April 11th.
من أبريل الحالي.
The National Election Commission's Media Committee is crowded with representatives from local and international newspapers, TV channels, and news agencies, waiting to have their press passes issued in order to cover and monitor the voting process set to take place on April 11th. Sudan's elections attracted wide attention from most international news channels, and everyone here is anticipating getting more information about the process. Some of them want to observe the happenings inside the capital Khartoum, while others are more interested in heading to the northern or southern provinces.
Now that I'm here, I got my pass within minutes, which allows journalists from international organizations to gain access to the ballot centers and freely tour them. I got all the assistance and help I needed. I also learned that many of my colleagues who came here were treated the same way as I was. We are honored to work in this media center, and we hope that all of the services that are provided in the process of monitoring and covering the elections will be at the same level.
The National Election Commission's Media Committee contacted media networks in order to start the procedure for them to cover the voting process. In all of the provinces of the country, covering and monitoring the ballot centers requires a press pass. It is fast and easy to issue and is valid until July.
We see that many media organizations are coming to get these press passes. We offer to help journalists and news networks from outside Sudan with their travels, whether they want to cover the elections inside or outside of Khartoum.
With the news network's eyes on the election process, they are given the opportunity to gain information and deliver video images. Mohammed Saeed from the headquarters of the National Election Commission's Media Committee, Khartoum.
Staying on the same topic, the International Relations Center organized a seminar about the international monitoring of the elections. In attendance were the Carter Center for Election Monitoring and a number of experts and specialists. The seminar held discussions about the role that international monitoring institutions play in the election process. A large number of international observers arrived in Sudan. Other than the Carter Center, a delegation from the European Union with 130 observers is considered to be the largest. The seminar also indicated that to guarantee the credibility, transparency, and integrity of the elections, international monitoring will complement local monitoring. For technical reasons, the participants also called for keeping international monitoring away from political matters.
Back home, and many fear that political bickering will resume in earnest with the end of the holiday. Journalist Roni Shaked explained to IBA's Eli Wogelenter the consequences that a lack of a national consensus by Israelis have on a host of major issues.
We don't have consensus because we don't know what's the target and what's the interest of the country as a nation, as a collective. There is a group here that are talking about the settlement. There are another group are talking about making peace. Another group is talking about let's make separation from all the Arab in this area. People don't know what's happened here, and people here are afraid, and they have a lot of societal belief, like the fear. And I don't want to talk about the Shoah and other things, or I'm going to talk about the terrorism that happened here just a few years ago. And people don't have any trust with the Arabs, and even not with the Palestinians. So everybody thinks that he has the best way for the country. And I'm sure that people from the right and from the left, they both want for the interest of this country. They don't want it to act and to do something against the country. And therefore, we don't have here a consensus, and without a consensus, nobody can be here. And another thing that we have here, the most important problem that in this nation, the religious parties, the ultra-religious party. I'm talking about Shas, I'm talking about even the Agudat Israel and all the others. They became to be more politicized, and even they went even to the right side. It means that we have here parties that before, let's say 20 years, 30 years before, they were talking about the nation, the people of Israel. Now they're talking about the land of Israel, even those religious people. And in order to talk about this, the future of the nation, we need other things here. I'm not talking about just about values of Zionism, Judaism, and democracy. I'm talking here how to live together with God and with all the people here. Shas is one thing, and Shas is a politics party. The religious is just a platform for the politics. It's nothing else. And also all the other religious party. And they are using their power in the coalition in order to gain for themselves. They don't care about the country. They are thinking about themselves and about the next stage. What's going to be in this country in more 10 years or more 20 years? I'm talking 20 years from now. Even today we have about, just here in Jerusalem, 50% of the young people are studying in the kollel or not in what we call in the education system of the state, of the country. In more 20 years, who are going to be the soldiers of this country? They're not going to the country. They're not paying tax. It's going to be a disaster if they're not going to be a change inside change, not just outside. And if we'll have this change, perhaps perhaps I'm talking that even there's going to be some kind of peace here or some kind of negotiation with the Palestinians. We're going to decide what we want. It will also influence about the religious party and about the consensus in this country.
On the other hand, if, as you say, there is a split consensus among Israelis as to the best path to take towards a solution, can this split consensus not go on for many years, in which case there'll be no agreement whatsoever?
Yeah, but in order to form agreement, we don't need just the people, we need a leadership. And I don't think that we have today a strong leadership. I'm not talking about, we are talking here, or the Palestinians said we need a new de Gaulle here in this country. I'm talking about, even I'm talking about Ben Gurion, another Ben Gurion that will come and that will do what's good to the country, not for the parties, not for the political parties. That's what he was doing, and he was thinking about small things, and he was making what we call the state building. And now we don't have even state building. Everybody is living for himself. Every Israeli became to be an individual, and that's a big problem. And there is a big gap between the collective interest and the individual. And I'm not talking in Jerusalem, I'm not talking about people who are living in, let's say, in Ariel or in other places. I'm talking about the majority of the people who are living in Tel Aviv. They're talking about themselves, not about the collective.
In observance of the International Day for Mine Awareness, the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, warned of the danger of landmines. The UNIFIL said that landmines and cluster munitions have killed or wounded more than 276 people since the end of the July 2006 war on Lebanon.
In honor of the International Day for Mine Awareness, the UNIFIL issued a statement warning of the serious threat of landmines. In addition, the UNIFIL said that it is working in close coordination with the Lebanese Mine Action Center, the Lebanese Army, and other specialized agencies to free the south of this scourge. It added that since the end of the July 2006 war, unexploded ordnance, particularly cluster munitions, continues to maim and kill civilians in southern Lebanon.
وأوضحت اليونيفيل أن هذه الألغام تسببت حتى الآن بمقتل 28 شخصا وجرح.
According to the UNIFIL, more than 28 civilians have been killed and 248 others have been wounded in landmine incidents, including 59 incidents involving demining personnel, with 14 fatalities and 45 injuries.
حالة وفاة و45 جريحا. ونقل بيان اليونيفيل عن قائدها العام الجنرال ألبرتو أسارتا.
UNIFIL Force Commander Major General Alberto Arsata said that the international forces, in cooperation with the Lebanese Mine Action Center and the Lebanese Army, have already cleared 4.8 million square meters of affected land and destroyed more than 34,000 unexploded munitions in the south.
أكثر من 34,000 لغم في الجنوب. القائد العام لليونيفيل لفت إلى حملات التوعية التي تقوم بها القوات الدولية.
Asarta praised the international forces for their efforts to raise awareness among the local residents about the danger of landmines. According to the UNIFIL, landmines affect at least 70 countries around the world and injure or kill between 15,000 and 20,000 people every year.
وجرح ما بين 15 و20 ألف شخص، مشيرة إلى أن الأمم المتحدة توفر الخدمات.
It added that the UN is providing mine action services in nearly 27 countries and territories around the world.
At 2:30 a.m., unknown armed assailants detonated 3 sound bombs on Siso Street in the Palestinian Rashadiya refugee camp in the Lebanese city of Tyre. There were no immediate casualty reports.
For more than a week, the Rashadiya refugee camp has been the target of a series of night bombings, averaging 1 attack per night. The same method is repeatedly being used in the attacks, which is either detonating a sound bomb or a car bomb. The latest attack was launched today when unknown assailants detonated 3 sound bombs on Siso Street at the Lower Rashadiya camp. Nearby homes and buildings were damaged by the blast. The residents, who described the situation as frightening and lawless, said that they have never seen anything like it.
They are not humans. They are bats that come out at night. No one can catch them. We have no security order or protection.
How come?
There's no law and order. No one is protecting the camp.
What happened to whoever was protecting the camp?
They are all gone. May God help us. Some quit and others left.
Was the camp protected in the past?
Yes, of course.
Who was controlling it?
Abu Riyad was controlling it. He helped set up security patrols at night.
The residents of Rashidi are demanding the local authorities help restore security at their camp, with some calling for the redeployment of the Lebanese internal security forces.
The views expressed on Mosaic are from contributing broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible from support of viewers like you. Thank you. Watch Mosaic World News online. Stay up to date with breaking news. Read our blog. Get transcripts of past shows and more at linktv.org/mosaic.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs which connect you to the world.